in the building. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the gaming podcast or podcast journey. It's the live stream.
Hold on. I'm trying to center myself in frame.
I'm like, what is he doing? I thought you're trying to do one of those hey, and I'm here. We got a lot of fun stuff going on today. Who do we have in the building? Who is in the building today?
I didn't know I was on mute. Typical GVC problems. I'm David East. I'm a developer relations engineer on the Firebase team.
Let's go.
David, we've been talking forever.
Dude, Jeremy, it's been so long. I know. We used to talk every day. And then what happened?
Yeah, I feel like I should make up some imagined slight that you did.
Yeah.
You crashed my car. That sweet Mustang.
You had insurance, man. Just kidding.
Oh man, so we got David East in the building from Firebase. We have Mark and Jeremy coming in hot from the Angular team. I guess hot from Firebase too, so really bad pun. All right, but friends at home, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to check in the comments. Let us know where you are watching from, and welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to spend some time playing some games, talking about Angular, talking about Firebase, probably talking about other video games and movies and whatever else comes across our mind. But we want to hear your questions and we want to know what you think. So definitely put your questions in the comments. Let us know where you're chiming in from. And we just, we're really excited to be hanging out with you folks today.
Yeah. Guys, you want to know something neat?
Always.
What's up?
Today is my 10-year Google anniversary.
Oh!
10 years at Google. Oh,
I'm over
Jeremy.
here looking for the GVC Labs emoji. I'm like, where's the party popper?
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Hey, chat, definitely say congrats to Jeremy for sticking with Google for 10 years. 10.
Yeah.
So many questions.
You know what they give you for 10 years? Your nice
What's
little
that?
prize reward is? They print out a Google Doodle on just a piece of printer paper and mail it to you.
I thought you were just going to say you get a MoMA badge.
Okay, we're getting some celebrations from you. From our friend Michael Faith in the building. Michael, what's going on? You got the champagne emoji. That's pretty good. Hey, Vinay coming in from Love from India. What's up? What's up? Glad to have you. All right. Swastika in the building from India. What's up? What's up? Jose Estrella, we see you. Welcome to the party. It's a good group here. Michael hangs out with us all the time, actually, and he's so faithful to the stream. That's not a pun either, but he's so faithful to the stream, always hanging out with us. And so I'm super glad that you're here, Michael. We see you. We appreciate you. All right, Jeremy, what are you playing today?
All right, so am I doing the playing?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I'm doing the playing. I
I
installed the game before we started because I didn't know if I was or not.
Got it.
So opening it now. It's a short hike.
Or
so we're gonna play a short hike.
Una caminata corta.
Podemos hablar en español in this stream, but we have people who don't speak Spanish, so we got to do it in English this time. We should do a Spanish stream. We should do a Spanish stream. We really should.
Sí. Acuerdo.
Just try it. Jose likes this idea. Jose, listen. Would you watch a Spanish stream, Jose? Would you be a part? Would you be in there? I don't know. Let's know. We got Jorge, bienvenido de Ecuador. Okay, let's go.
Oh, Eric Cisneros also, donde de Ecuador.
Yes.
All right. So do I have to start?
Okay.
If I start a new game, will that wipe out my save file?
Yes.
All right.
Wipe it out. It's okay. Do it.
It's okay. This game is not meant to be built upon. It's like ephemeral. You play it over and over and over again.
All right. See, I had beaten it.
Oh, you've beaten it, so you play this. Okay.
Yeah, I played this.
Oh yeah.
All right. So
yeah. This game.
Okay, so listen, the people do want us to do a stream in Spanish.
See?
So we're gonna have to work that out. We can't do it today, but we're definitely gonna work that out and do one in Spanish. That'd be fun. Jeremy, tell us about the game that we're playing.
This is a game called A Short Hike. You play a bird who is going on vacation to an island. I forget the name of the island, and it's just chill. You walk around and you collect things. It was made by one developer. The developer who made this also has a gaming experience I really like that you could play at Halloween time. And let me see if I can remember the name correctly. It's called Mayor Bones Presents Spooky Town's 100th
Oh yeah.
Annual Pumpkin Festival.
I remember that game. Okay, happy birthday to Andy's friend.
Okay.
That's
I
what's
had to
up.
remember
Andy,
how
tell
to
your friend
lie.
we said happy birthday. So that's pretty dope. Go ahead.
I was like, I could completely go on about this game forever. I absolutely love this game. Actually, I play this game in Spanish. This is like I'm only like probably like a beginner intermediate Spanish speaker, but I play this whole game in Spanish and it's amazing. Sometimes the translations don't quite uh, don't quite get it, but I learned lots of new words. But yeah, this game is truly the most epitome of like it just feels good playing it, and you've beat it in like, I mean, the speed run for this game is 2.5 minutes, and that's without like any like big glitches or anything like that.
That's pretty fire.
So
All right.
it's pretty chill.
So as Jeremy is meeting some other birds and flying around this island, I want to remind all the folks watching from at home, here's what you want to do. If you have questions about Firebase, Angular in Firebase, or Angular or other stuff, this is your time to ask a question. And we got our first question. So is it a good practice to use services like properties methods directly in a template? I don't know about that. I don't think you use it in a template because every time that template re-renders, right, all those function calls are going to be called again. So you want to use your functions like that, right? So you kind of don't want to do functions in a template if you can help it. If you can just get that.
You could
Go ahead, Jeremy. You going to say something?
And
Or go ahead. That was David. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was like, you can always try to like memorize the function, but at that point, you're probably better off just like, most of the time you can pre-bake those things inside of like a Init or something like that, where a lot of times they can be read-only. Not read-only, sorry. Well, effectively read-only, but you're pre-calculating everything ahead of time. That's not always possible, but everywhere where it can be, see where you can like pre-compute it and then assign it to some value, and then that's good.
You know, Minko actually has a PR open right now for a change detection guide, which includes advice on optimization and it touches on some of these topics like using memoization.
Yeah.
So keep your eye out for that guide that we're literally in the middle of reviewing. Oh, friends, speaking of guides, I have been promising you folks a video for ages about internationalization and localization in Angular. I've recorded the video. It is in the post-processing, and it'll be out within probably the next 2 weeks. So I'm really excited about that. I've been promising you that video, and we've been working hard on it, and now it's finally coming. So hang in there. This is a good question. In React, we have virtual DOM. What do we have in Angular? I don't know how to answer this in the interviews.
Let's see. So this is... So Angular does not have a virtual DOM, right? Angular doesn't need a virtual DOM. So Angular keeps track of the exact spot in the DOM where all of your dynamic expressions are. And when those expressions change, it just goes and updates those spots directly. That's different than kind of the React model, which it always renders everything into a virtual DOM, and then it has an algorithm for figuring out what changed, so it's making the minimal DOM mutation possible.
Okay, but go back to that cute climbing wall. Why is that so adorable? With
It is a
cute grips and everything.
You need gold. You need some golden feathers.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go up that path, like it's back over there. The shovel you need is up back there, and then you get the real shovel.
Yeah, I'll get there.
No, sure. You beat this. You know what I'm doing. Do you know where the secret gold feather is by the lighthouse?
Well, now
Probably.
he does.
Like, it's been a while since I played.
Me too. It's been at least 2 days.
I missed it. I woofed it.
Oh no, that jump. Yeah, you might need another feather for that.
I feel like
Oh, I got my favorite question. A lot of cool standalone component work is going into V14. Will it be fully implemented in V14 or more to come? We are releasing standalone components in what we're calling developer preview mode in V14. You'll be able to use it in your applications. You'll be able to have a good time with it, but we really want to get your feedback about the things that you find so we can continue to improve it, and then we're hoping by V15 it'll be out of developer preview, but it's really going to depend on what happens when you fun friends out there get to use standalone components. And so we just can't wait to see what you're going to do.
Yeah, standalone components. I'm super excited about that.
Are there any like things enabled for Angular Fire? So the Firebase plugin for Angular, is there anything enabled by standalone components, or is it just not really a big factor for you folks?
No, it could be a pretty big factor. Like, let's say you just want your, on your site, you just have, I always use this example. So I feel so cheap when I use this, but let's say you have a blog and then you only want to render your Angular, your comments as like an Angular standalone component, and you get those from like Firestore or something like that. That's a really cool use case because you can say like, oh, that's my comments, and you just splot them in there. But everything above is all static HTML, just untouched by JavaScript world because it doesn't need to be. That's a cool use case. And then you could even get smarter by saying like, oops, I'm gonna click this button to like load that up or something like that. So then it does a little dynamic import. So there's a lot of things about standalone components that I'm excited about.
I love that. Wait, Jeremy, what are you doing right now?
I'm just walking around having a chill time.
Oh, there's your plastic shovel. Yeah.
But wait, I just want to confirm something. Whatever you've done here has really made your frame rate be like 10 frames per second for me.
It's true. The frame rate is down.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it.
But I remember you roasted my Stadia frame rate last month. So
I think it might be. I think it might be StreamYard.
I imagine so. I didn't think that. I wasn't expecting a crispy 60 FPS coming in here.
Yeah, we gotta just like switch over to doing this with OBS.
Yeah,
we are.
OBS though,
our
that is so hard.
Come through pretty good.
Yeah, we'll set up some time, Mark. We gotta figure out how to just combine our streams so that we can bypass StreamYard. Let's see, I forget how to switch items.
Oh yeah, just go up to it. Yeah.
All right, let's answer some more questions.
Let's do it.
I don't know what this is. How to get particular state map and AM charts in Angular. I don't know what AM charts
I don't know what AM charts are, but that sounds like you're trying to, like, actually, I don't know what you mean by state map.
Right.
Is that like passing in property or, attributes, properties into like a component, or does it have its own idea of like some state machine? It sounds interesting. If you want to write a little more about what those things are, be happy to see if we can help.
Yeah, you gotta let us know. We need some more explanations.
If anyone has, sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was saying, if anyone has Firebase questions too, I'm here. I can tell you all about, real time and authentication and building cool apps and stuff.
I can just say with my heart of hearts. So it's a true story about David East and Mark Thompson. This is a very true story. When I was learning a lot about like web development, and then I was getting into Firebase long before I became a Googler, I used to watch David on YouTube. And I remember just being like, man, that dude's so smart, and he just does all this cool stuff on YouTube. I wanted to do that one day. And then I got to go to Google I/O in 2019 as a visitor, and then I see David, and this poor guy had been up talking to people, presenting all day. And I was just like, look, I know you're tired. I just wanted to say hi, and I love your work. And he's like, yeah, man, it's pretty cool. Thanks for watching everything. Thanks for supporting. And he was so kind, despite the fact that he had been like pretty maxed out from like interaction. Because when you work Google I/O, like you folks, it's a lot of you all that come to talk to us, like a ton, and it's really easy to kind of get like maxed out. But David was super nice, and then now we're like friends, which
Oh
is like
yeah.
really weird to me to think that like this guy I used to watch on the internet is now my friend. So it's great.
I'm just a man who happens to be on the internet. That is all.
Aren't we all?
I
All
do
right,
remember
aren't we
that.
all?
I remember that. I was so tired, and it was IO in those tents. It was so hot, and I remember just like my
Yeah.
voice was just gone. And I remember at the end of that, I think yeah, it was like one of the last days. I was just like, I'm a shell of myself, and I have to get on a plane here in an hour. Oh my gosh, yeah, I love it, but I don't know how to regulate my fun, and so like I just go full throttle all the time, and then I can only like take so much, but I still try to get as much fun until I completely crash and burn.
Yeah.
Nice landing, Jeremy. Nice. We got our first golden
Okay.
feather.
Let's go. But we're doing an awesome job. And listen,
Thank you.
thank you. You're doing an awesome job. You're doing an awesome job. Let's see. Is something big planned for Angular in the coming years to take on React? Well, what do you mean something big planned? And what do you mean by take on React? There's a lot of questions, clarifications here. What does that mean, Jeremy? Something big planned for Angular to take on React?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
I
Ask
mean,
us some details.
we don't like the thing. I think to mention here is like we don't think about it that way. We don't think of like how can we make Angular the thing that like beats everything else. That's not really the way we think of it. It's more as like, hey, we built this thing, we built Angular, people like it. It's good at certain things. How can we keep making it better, right? How can we keep making it faster, have more features, make it easier to use? And that's really the trajectory that like we're following. And I think we are doing exciting stuff now. So finishing Ivy in 2021 really unlocked the ability for us to start executing on a lot more ambitious projects. And that's why you're starting to see things like the type forms and the standalone components. And you can expect to see more of that going into 2023 and like throughout this year as we take advantage of this new like lower level instruction set architecture that Ivy gives us in order to like do cool, ambitious stuff.
All right, so now related to this, these are my favorite questions, and David, you'll see why in a second. So Scotland asks Angular versus React, and then Angular versus Vue. And I want to hear Jeremy's point of view on this too, but everything's great. You should use what works for you and the thing that you like. So if you want to use React, you should. If you want to use Angular, you definitely should. If you want to use Vue, you definitely should.
I mean, so many good things to all the frameworks. I've used all of these, and I have I have used all with the exception of Vue. I've never shipped anything to production with Vue, but I have shipped some very complicated things to production with Angular with the help of Mr. Jeremy Alborn above me. I used to work in the Firebase console, and we heavily used Angular material. And so I've done that and done some stuff with React that's in production now too. The Firebase emulator suite all is in React. So yeah, there's a lot of, there's goodness. I had fun on all those projects. I would love to be able to ship a Vue project to production as well. That'd be a good experience.
Which I love, by the way. The emulator, when the emulator came out, I really felt like that was just a turning point for Firebase, because I always felt like, yeah, I want to test it, but I don't want to use my like database, and I don't want to have to like set up another instance in the cloud just to do things. And when you all released that, I wasn't a Googler yet, and I remember being so grateful and so excited.
Yeah. We started out as just like something to run like sort of like end-to-end tests against in like CI/CD environments. But after we built it, we kind of realized that, oh wow, like you can just put a UI in front of this, and then now you have like a local instance running. And then as we did that for Firestore, we were like, oh, we could do that for authentication. And then authentication was especially helpful, because it doesn't matter what system that you're using. A lot of them are like this, where not even just authentication, but having like visual tools to help you like develop is super helpful, because if you're like logging in a user over and over again and you're like typing their username and their password, or if you're just like going through some login flow with the emulator UI, you can create a whole list of users. You can even like pull them in from like a JSON file when the emulator boots up, and then when you go to log in a user, you just click a button that's like or like a tab or something. It's like, that's that user, I want to log in as that person, and it's just so nice. Instead of this typing password, ha ha ha, not secure 123, and over again.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay, well, we got a bunch of questions coming. People are asking. Oh man, Jeremy knows about this because I know you were working on this thing. But after enabling Angular testing module teardown in version 13, random test cases start failing without giving proper stack trace for debugging. Any suggestions?
I mean, I would say file a bug. If that's happening, my hypothesis would be that something in your teardown, so your like ng-on destroys, is throwing an error, and that is somehow causing a problem. But you should always get a stack trace for what you're doing. So if your tests are just like halting and you're not getting, a stack trace or test failures, then that's weird and you should file a bug.
Yeah, file a bug so we can support you. Okay. Let's go. Hold on.
This is a good question.
This is a horrible question because it was great until the last part. If Angular, okay, all right.
I have a good answer for this. Oh,
you can
okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if Angular was an NBA team, they would be the Phoenix Suns, and Jeremy Alborn would be the Devin Booker of the team, just draining shots in from deep, PRs from like half court. And Mark Thompson would be the Mikal Bridges, just that fan favorite, playing lights out defense and nailing corner threes. That's who the Angular would be. They'd be the Phoenix Suns.
See, I would argue that. Well, Jeremy, who would we be from basketball if you had to guess? If you had to pick a team.
I mean, I don't know enough about basketball teams to know any distinguishing characteristics of them other than the city in which they're based.
That's still a good start. It's a very good start.
I would say that we would either be the San Antonio Spurs during the Tim Duncan /
that's a good team.
Like kind of back when Kerr still played with the Spurs, and they did that little run. They did a little back-to-back.
Oh, hold up. I have to pause. This right here is my favorite part of the entire game, is when you learn how to fish, because that part where he sits down and he says, am I doing it right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, nothing's happening though. He's like, do you just wait? And he's like, yeah, you just wait. And I love that, because I think that's such a metaphor for life, because he's sitting there being like, well, I'm sitting here and something should be happening and I should be working, I should be doing. And he's like, no, you're just sitting here fishing. And then I thought when I played this, that was such a, I don't know, I remember that moment fondly, and I was like, ooh, that's deep. That's deep. And this game is full of little deep moments like that. That's an oxymoron, but still. Sorry. Anyways, you continue with your I just had to call that out.
I would just say we'd be them, or we'd be the Golden State Warriors right now. Because
I knew you were going to say that.
I feel like with the legacy of Angular, we've been to the championship. We've done some really great things. We've had some big things that we've learned from, some big opportunities where we made mistakes, and we learned from them. And now we're in a really excellent position to like go forward. And that's the thing I think about now. Like we got some like young stars coming into the team, like Emma Tversky, and like, you just got some young stars coming in, and Jessica, and Amy, and then you got like Dylan, like a bunch of young stars coming in doing some great things right now. We got some really great coaching staff too. And so, our manager, team lead, or our like engineering manager, Matt Lina, and then the other one, Christina, like great leadership. So I think about that, and I'm like, yeah, we might be the Golden State Warriors.
Well, I know that you would. That's your team.
That's been my team for going up on a decade now.
I know, man. I know you are faithful.
Yeah, for a decade I've been with the Golden State Warriors. Do you guys know about the ES build of Angular version out there? Why this is not default in Angular? It makes Angular build time
I'm
faster. We do
actually.
have ES build
This is a
in our
great
build
question.
system.
ESBuild is already used by Angular CLI.
Yeah.
ESBuild is nice. It is so nice.
Yeah, we are using it. Are you having a problem where it's not showing up? I don't know who this is for from UI.dev. Hi, Dev. Hi.
UI. Here, I'm gonna do UI.dev a favor here. If you're not signed up for bytes.dev, the newsletter, such a good newsletter. Just all of you listening right now, just type in bytes.dev, and it is one of my favorite web development newsletters, full of great information and
Oh,
lots of spice.
I know who this is. Thank you
Yeah.
for watching this stream. That's super kind of you to hang out. And hi back to you. We love you, son. You said hi, Dad, so we love you back. Or child. I won't say son. Let's say child. We don't want to assume, but you know. Okay, David, this is for you. Firebase question: will it be possible to add more fields to capture user info in Firebase authentication, such as birthday, address, etc.? Right now, I have to create a collection and correlate info to capture more info. I have always wanted this, to not have to do my own user profile when it comes to authentication.
Yeah, I mean, we've thought about this for a while, and you know what? If there's something you are passionate about, since I got two, and just you read this and you're like, yes, definitely, like on our GitHub repo for, like, I guess you could do the JS SDK GitHub repo, like, file an issue. There might even be an existing issue on this, so you could just tag along to and be like, yes, exactly. We think about this. There's pros and cons to it, obviously, because yes, it's really nice if you're just using authentication to be able to retrieve lots of good data, but when you're updating data, that's not always the best spot for it, because you really want, like, you also a lot of times are going to want, like, the ability of that in Firestore. So there's kind of like a line in there, and I think a lot of times people end up using Firestore pretty happily, but I do agree that there is a sweet spot somewhere. I think for a lot of apps could use that. So yeah, we've waited over, but more feedback. Let us know, because it's not something we're adverse to. It's just, we want to do what the people want.
Okay, I have the architecture for this. I just thought of it. And Jose, you can thank me later when I implement this. Thank me by being a good engineering citizen and keep doing great things. So it could be interesting that if we could, like, tie an event to the authentication, meaning, like, if I do have a separate collection that is my user profile, that on authentication load once, like that type of event, that I can automatically get from the auth tie. I linked it together, and then one time I get them both at the same time without making that separate, right?
There's like so you're saying there's like awareness between Firestore and authentication. For authentication is kind of like, hey, give me that stuff on this one time, so that way I don't have to. I don't have to do both.
Exactly,
that is, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I don't have to do both.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that I could see something like that. Well, yeah, definitely. Like I said,
I'm about to write a one pager for this.
Yeah, stuff like that's helpful. Anytime we hear, honestly, like, I guess a lot of times it sounds sometimes like when people say, like, put it on GitHub, or say, like, write an issue or whatever, it sounds like maybe they're saying, like, oh yeah, I don't want to hear about it, but that's not true at all. Like, there are so many meetings and so many times where we're pointing at, like, look how much this is requested. Like, the whole V9 SDK for Firebase, where we optimized the whole SDK for tree shaking, like, rewrote the whole thing and dropped the size for, like, 50, 60, 70%. In some cases, was all pressured. I don't say pressured. We had been wanting to do, like, better on size for a long time, but it was easier to make that decision when we had such like, supportive voices in that issue. It was we were always referenced. I can't remember the number of the issue now. 1091. I can't remember, but it used to be like, this issue, everyone wants it. So yeah, filing an issue, you have the power.
Yeah, we listen. We listen in the streets. Okay, so let's do this. I want to get through some of these questions. We got quite a bit. We're having too much fun, so let's try to go through a few of these. So Kevin wants to know: are there any plans to integrate Vite into Angular?
I want to know this too.
Webpack right now.
I was
But
talking
go
with
ahead.
Doug about it. It's definitely on the CLI team's mind as something to look into. I
Yes.
don't know if they've sat down to actually do any prototyping yet.
Oh, it's so nice, man. I love Vite. Vite is so good. It is so good. I just put, like Frank's Red Hot, where it's like I put it on everything. That's Vite for me. I just put it on everything. I just had to upgrade some really old code that was all based off like window-based modules and stuff, and I had to get it all from off window onto ESM modules, and I just put Vite on it, and it was so easy. Whereas that, because it was like a 5-6 year old code base, and then Vite was like, I got you. It just like, oh, it was
Mm.
beautiful. I would have been spending days writing like config and stuff like that. By the way, Jeremy, I
True.
love that you're doing the I don't remember the name of this island is, but this island is so awesome when you get the silver feather at the top.
I know I can't get to it yet.
I think I guess maybe you might need one more golden
I
feather.
need the
Yeah, I think you need one more. Yeah.
So this is my favorite question of all time because I'm very passionate about mobile. Any update native mobile by Google to Angular? Okay, friends. So Kang, I have some really excellent news for you. I'm actually working on a series to talk about what your options are for this, but I'll tell you them now. But we're doing like some really cool stuff that should be out in June or July this year, where we really kind of dive into this. If you so one first and foremost, I don't believe that you need native in general as a first stop in your story. Here's what I think. This is just my opinion, so you should take or leave whatever, right? I think the bare minimum that you need, you really should start with a mobile responsive site that has great mobile responsive design as your core. Let me tell you why. Because the friction between having your application installed or just going to a website, there's still friction there. You remove the friction when someone can go to a website and have a full experience, which you can do with Angular. Then if you say, well, I want them to take this experience offline, right? I want to do more. Well, Angular by default has the PWA support that you can do by just running the PWA schematic. And then on your existing application that we already defined as being mobile responsive, you can make it installable right there. And here's what's really rad. If you use the Firebase hosting, you can do literally ng add angular slash fire. Not Angular Fire. Wait, is it Angular slash Fire? No.
Yeah, it's Angular. It's
Yeah,
at
Angular
Angular
slash
slash fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
Do an ng deploy, and because it's a PWA, as soon as they go to your website on their mobile device, they'll be prompted to install. So then you get installability. If you need more than that, because you say you need, well, I need even more device access than I can get from a PWA, which is still pretty good. Then I say you still keep your mobile app and go with something like Capacitor to wrap your mobile web app into native so you can get into the App Store. And if, by some chance, you can't get what you need through that, there's still native script where you can share your code. You can't completely reuse it, but you can share your code with your native script project and then get that actual native UI. That's what I think you should do first. That's my opinion. So we're not going to build a mobile solution native like that. Like we're not going to build like Angular native to like combat like React native. We think some people in the community have already done a really great job solving this problem, and we think you should support those projects.
I just want to say that was a great answer. That was just, you just took it to it, man.
That is my favorite question because I spend a lot of time thinking about like mobile solutions. Because before Angular, I was really heavy into Flutter, and I spent a lot of time with Flutter, and I love their solution. But I also think the modern web is incredibly powerful.
Yeah. We are spoiled with all of the good solutions.
Okay, this is a question for you two. I'm not going to answer this, even though I know the answer because I did it. How do I get hired into the Angular team?
I am the worst person to ask for this because while I did work, partially on the Angular team a time ago, and I do work at Google, I do not know. I do not know what it is like to be interviewed at Google because whenever people ask me, they're like, "Oh man, I heard that Google interview is hard." I'm like, "I do too. I've heard a lot of things about it." And they're like, "Don't you work there?" And I'm like, "Yes, for 7 years now." But I never interviewed. So here's what you do. You just show up and then you say, "I'm a new hire." And then they're like, what? And you're like, there must be some paperwork problems. I was supposed to have a badge and a hat. And then they'll just get you right. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I know I came in through the old Firebase, so I didn't have to interview. That's what you do. But Mark and Jeremy probably answered that question way better than I can.
Oh, my hat.
Well, Jeremy
yeah,
got hired the furthest away from.
That's true. That was
the newest
10 years ago.
Yeah, really.
Today.
So out of the three of us, I'm the newest Googler. You know, I think first. Go ahead, Jeremy.
You go ahead first, Mark, and then I'll talk.
Well, I was just say, I think that it depends on what you mean, like by getting hired by the Angular team. Like, do you want to just contribute to Angular? Then you can do that now, right? If you want to work at Google, though, I can speak even more to that, right? Like, I think working at Google is a really great opportunity if there's a job opening that you fit for. And I think what you got to do is study. Like, that's what I did, right? Like, to get hired here, I studied. And when I was ready, I happened to be ready when the time came, when they said has an opportunity. I was in a good place where I could study for it, and I studied like data structures, algorithms, and I studied a very particular way, where as opposed to like getting like a textbook, I did like a lot of practice problems, and I read about some of the problems and the things that I was like trying to figure out so that I could understand what I was trying to solve in case I got into. So for example, like when I was studying trees, right? It was more like, okay, what is a tree and what does the tree solve? Because the bigger thing was knowing to use a tree, even if I couldn't implement it. I had to understand what the solution it was trying to solve. That's the type of things that I studied. And then I did practice problems. So then when I saw a problem, I'll say, oh, a tree would be good because I knew why I would use a tree, right? Or why I would use a sorting algorithm. That was helpful for me. So that way in my interview, even if I did get stuck with like a problem, I could say, well, I think I would use, this type of like sorting algorithm. I can't think about the exact implementation, but let's imagine that this function calls that implementation. But I know what the big O runtime is, and I know what it's going to do for us, right? So that's the way I studied. But your mileage may vary with that.
Yeah. So hiring at Google is kind of complicated, right? Because like the Angular team, like we're just like any other part of Google, we don't get to just like go out and hire people, right? People go through Google's hiring process. And like Mark mentioned, that like that hiring process is kind of famously difficult for many reasons. And studying and preparing is really just kind of necessary for it. What I like to say is, we all know there's a lot of tech companies that do coding interviews in terms of it's like algorithms, data structures, which a lot of at least front end people don't use much in their day-to-day lives. And so I think of it less as a question of like, do you just know this stuff? Have you memorized it? Versus are you able to learn it in preparation for your interview? Because what companies like Google really want more than asking like, do you just know this stuff? Although like experience is clearly a useful thing, is are you able to learn this stuff, right? Is this something that you can go study and then use it effectively in an interview? Because the ability to like that quickly pick up knowledge and apply it, that's really the most important skill.
Actually, one thing I will, as a person who sits on interviews and gives interviews, I will say is that regardless of your experience level or what you're really doing, one thing that is underrated is to be able to succinctly and clearly communicate things you've done in your experience, which is a lot harder than you realize. It's kind of like if someone says like, well, what do you do? Can you give that elevator pitch? Can you give an elevator? And this is a longer interview, so it can be a much longer elevator, but to be able to communicate your style of work, how you build relationships with coworkers, your ownership over certain levels of the project, how you take on, responsibilities for your job and examples of things you've done. That's something that I think a lot of people might overlook because, like Mark and Jeremy are saying, they're really focused and practicing. And then you get to a section of the interview where someone's just like, tell me a time where you had to think about the user at your job. And then you're like, I can I know I've done this 100 times before, but I can't think of a single example right now because because I'm feeling nervous. So I think those things are really important, is just to think about how do you communicate your job and what you do to other people, and just do it clearly, succinctly, and, so you're not racking your brain.
Yeah, excellent answer. Excellent answer. Okay, so now we got to do a speed round because we got 20 minutes and I don't want to get on any more soapboxes. All right. Will new components be added to the material UI, such as input mask or others? Any details, Jeremy?
We don't have any plans to add anything new right now. At some point, we probably will add a time picker, but that is on the more complicated side. Our focus has always really been on the core set of material design components that are in the spec. And as I think there's some stuff that is like in the spec that's not there. And so that's probably more likely stuff, things like bottom nav, where they tend to be more mobile oriented, which is why they haven't like percolated up near the top of the priority list. The thing that we're more focusing on at the moment is more CDK primitives, so that it's like, for example, in version 14, you'll be seeing CDK menu and CDK dialog as new things, so that people can much more easily put together their own custom components that meet whatever visual needs that you have in your application, where the CDK is handling all of the structure and the accessibility for you.
Right. Let's see. Rajat, back. Much love to you and the other Angular developers out there. We appreciate you. Seriously, thank you for being a part of the community. All right, good question from Andres. Nuestro amigo Andres says, all of us know your work as developer advocate, but actually making video is a part of your job. My question is, how is a normal workday work for you all? So first thing, I'm a developer advocate. I'm a senior developer advocate. David is a staff developer advocate, and then Jeremy is you're Uber TL, like SE, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want my job title, it is staff software engineer.
Oh, staff. Okay, so Jeremy's a staff software engineer. So Jeremy's job looks very different than my job, for example, even though we work on the same team.
Yep, that's why I'm playing the game.
But we can talk about like what normal work day is for me. And David as DevRel, and then Jeremy can share his opinion. I'll give like the 30-second pitch here. For me, my making videos is so little of my job at this point in terms of the time spent on it. Like I do it in batches. A lot of my work day, I spend a lot of time thinking about strategy, right? Like, and then what type of things can we do to serve the community? So I spend a lot of time writing. I do write code. I don't always contribute to the framework, but I write code trying out the new things that we're releasing, for example, and just trying to like see how we can serve the community through that. Are the features good and stuff like that? So I do a lot of that in strategy and planning and working toward. And then the collaborations too. Like I like to look for partnerships that we can do with Angular and where it makes sense. So my typical day, lots of writing. I spend probably like 80% of my day in Google Docs, 15% in email, answering email, 5% in chat, and then an extra negative 10% is where I get to write my code. What about you, David?
Like videos to me are kind of like, it's kind of like going to the gym, where you're like, if you go all the time, it's not a big deal. But when you're not going to the gym, you got to go back. You're like, oh, it's so much harder. Did the weights get heavier? And you're like, 10 pounds, 20 pounds shouldn't feel like this. But like making videos, just depends on like what's needed at the time. But yeah, a lot of my time is spent helping other people make videos, or helping, like Mark saying, like strategy for videos. I do love to contribute videos when I can. Sometimes I'll get an idea for a video that I really want to do, and I'll lie to myself and say that it'll only take a day to do it, and like 5 days later it's done.
The lie.
But yeah, it's only done with a lie. But yeah, I still love making videos. It's still a huge passion of mine. I just, a lot of times we have, a pretty good sizable team, and a lot of people are really passionate about making videos. And so a lot of times for me, it's just, I lead the YouTube channel. So I kind of like help organize when stuff gets posted, and like, what kind of content we're working on. And if anyone who's making video needs help and stuff like that. And then when I find time to do stuff, I do stuff. Like I just released a video, it was super fun to make, where I just did like a whole crash course on doing Firebase or Firestore with Firebase Auth and security rules, and setting it up for offline. And I got to play the Dino game in it and stuff. It was a good day. Well, it was a good 5 days. It took like 5 days, but it was a good 5 days.
That's pretty rad. Jeremy, what's your day look like?
Most like about half of meetings, right? So half of my day is always just meetings, and the other half is responding to things, really just like is what takes up most of my time. So like responding to docs comments and responding to what else? A lot of we get like a support requests and reaching out to other teams, reviewing things. I do a fair amount of writing docs, right, is a fair amount of what I do as well. I write extremely little code these days.
And to be clear, a lot of that is because of the nature of like all of our roles, right? Like at the staff level at Google, you're just doing different things. And as I'm aiming for at some point getting up to staff level, because I'm only senior level, like that's why I spend so much time in strategy, because if you just heard from the other two staff people, that's what they do. Like that's what staff work looks like a lot of times, the strategy and stuff. So that's just the way it is. And you get less time to be an individual contributor to like projects and code. You just get less time for that even outside of DevRel. So, but I love videos. I'm like David, I love videos. I just feel that same light. I tell to myself of like how quick I can do this. Like the internationalization video, I'm like, I can do this in 10 minutes. I don't know why this is a big deal. Look at the background. Background's already set. I can do this, and it takes much longer.
Yeah, I did get to write a ton of code recently though, which was great. I rebuilt the whole Firebase blog from scratch, and it was
so good, by the way.
It was so much fun. I got to port 10 plus years of content over, and it was a totally greenfield project. I got to I guess pun intended, I got to flex my CSS skills.
Oh, okay.
And it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. It was not a lot of JavaScript really at all. It was just tons and tons of CSS. So I got to really, think clearly about CSS organization, about making really good layouts to not have tons of like, just add some margin to that. And that's how that'll be better. So it was good. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Rad. Okay, Toyamba asks, are you looking at putting less emphasis on observables to ease the learning curve for new users? If so, any ideas on how to balance between new users and Angular veterans? Jeremy and I are actually very into this right now, looking at what the learning curve is and how we can better support developers new to Angular. And this is something we're still thinking about. We're still thinking about what because RxJS is still part of the story, and we have to figure out what the right path is.
I totally think that yes, there should be an option to do stuff without RxJS, but RxJS is so nice. Oh, I just love RxJS. I think that once you kind of do take that plunge, it's kind of like those, like everyone has that friend who's like, oh, I take cold showers and it's the best. It's the best. And then you're like, I'm seeing it. And it looks hard. I don't want to do that. And then, then always, if you just do it, I don't take cold showers. This is maybe a bad analogy, but maybe if you do it, maybe it is so great. And that's how it is with RxJS. RxJS is so good. It is so much. Yes, there's tons of operators and stuff to memorize, and it can be kind of weird to debug. But there's a nice happy path to RxJS that works most of the time. And then when you stick to that, I find that it is such a joy.
Nope. Similar feelings. Okay. Let's see. We got some more questions before we run out of time. Let's see. A quick question. Alan is not, but let's see what the question is. Is the Angular team advocating for the workspace apps like NX or not so much? I like the create application false option. Jeremy, any feelings about this?
This is something where it's like, if it works for you, then great. I think we don't really I don't think we're in the position to say one way or another. I think if you check it out, see if it works for you, and if so, great.
Feels right. David, any feelings about that? Do you use NX when you do Angular apps?
No, I don't. I stuck to the Angular CLI. I haven't done a ton with NX, but you know, I hope Jeff isn't listening. But Jeff, as Jeremy knows, Jeff and I go way back. And that's actually how I met Jeremy is through Jeff. And yeah, so like I feel like, at least, and I love a lot of the stuff Narwhal does. So I feel like I owe it to him to check it out. Plus, I know so many people love NX. So I've been meaning to kick the tires on it.
A lot of people do love NX. I will say that is actually pretty accurate. A lot of people love it. Hold on. The Angular team offered me a job, but I rejected it. Man, Ninjedi, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's all right. Maybe our paths will cross another day. Also, we need an Angular mascot like Flutter has Mr. Dash. Okay, I actually have a Dash.
Why don't we just draw eyes on the shields and just call it like, the shield, and then give it like, bulky biceps, that represent change detect. I'm going to stop.
Well, yeah, I have a Dash. I got this when I went to one of the Flutter events when I was a non-Google.
That's a good one. That's a big one too.
This is a big one. I have a little one too that I gave to my kid.
I can't even get a Sparky. I want the little Sparky so bad, but
Sparky is amazing. I love that one.
What you have, as you had one, I cannot, 8 years at Firebase and I can't get a Sparky. I think maybe that's the 10-year thing.
You know what's really funny is just how much like when I was outside of Google, I wanted so much of like the Google product swag. I wanted like Angular t-shirts and Firebase t-shirts and everything. I wanted it all. Like I have like 5 Flutter t-shirts from when I was in the Flutter community because it just feels so rad to be a part of something. So I totally get why people want that type of stuff. Let's see. Good question. What do we think about NestJS? David, I have a question for you. What do you think about it? Yeah.
Love it. Nest. I haven't done a ton with Nest, especially not lately, but I did a couple years ago. It's been, doing, and I know it's gotten so much better since then. But back when I had need for a couple years ago, I was doing some server stuff, some stuff with Cloud Functions. It was really nice, and they have a really good team. A lot of their team members are just great people that I've interacted with, and it's really nice. And they have a really strong community, and you can tell they really listen to like what developers want. It's good. It's good stuff. I wish I, used it more. Maybe I'll just come up with some excuse to use it more because it is. I'm a big fan.
Is there an Angular way of implementing multiple languages on a web app? Yes, it is called the Internationalization package. Is $. Localize is one of the tools. You can install this. I have a video that I've already made. That's the great thing about the story. I've already made this video, and it is coming out in the next 2 weeks. I've been promising it, Sarky, and it's coming. Please believe in me one last time. Okay, give me one last chance to make your internationalization dreams come true. All right. Will we get Angular dev tools for Edge? Well, we're working on it for Firefox right now, trying to get the Firefox version working. And I don't even know if it's available or not, but that's something that we're definitely working on. I don't know. We can ask Minko about what the plans for Edge are. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't actually even know what goes into making an Edge extension.
I think it might be the same because Edge is like Chromium.
Since Chromium might just be like different like manifest files, or it's usually the glue code of letting the browser's internal, the shell, I guess, of knowing what it is. This is my completely uneducated assumption.
No, that's good. So check this out. Can we release a masterclass? Yes. I cannot tell you when, but yes. David, remember I told you about this.
I know we did. We've had this conversation before. My eyes perked up when I saw Jose's comment. I was like, man.
I'm telling you, the streets want a class from us.
I was like, was Jose in our meetings? He could. We could all speak Spanish.
Right. And Jeremy, I just want you to see this so the next time we're in a meeting and I'm talking about this, you can know that the streets are asking for this. So,
now, when you say masterclass, do you mean like the actual masterclass?
I was wondering about that too.
Streaming platform, or just like some videos we make?
No, I think it's videos we make. But I think that's a really great idea, Jose. Thanks for mentioning it and supporting it. Yeah, definitely. We're thinking about it. We're actually thinking about like what. So, all jokes aside, we are thinking about what does education, like first party education, looks like from Angular. That's a story that we're just exploring, because there are some amazing resources from the community already out there, and we're trying to figure out, is there a place for us to create stuff? Does it need it, or would it be a distraction from other great content? So we are thinking about it. Ertunga says, hello all, any plans on the horizon to improve DX on Angular library development? Okay, integrating CLI more to create secondary entries, changing import paths easily. Yes, you should create a GitHub issue with your feedback on this. Yes, do that. Create a GitHub issue. Jeremy, any thoughts about how we're trying to improve the DX for Angular? For library development specifically.
I don't know that there's anything out there for libraries specifically. We've been talking about features we could add for Angular CLI in general, but I think that's just kind of stuff that makes things better for everyone and not just library authors.
Oh, this is interesting from dependency injection. Well, we'll be able in the future to, for example, enable Google Maps services and Angular applications directly via schematics offered from us. So like first-party schematics to do things like, you know how we have Angular Fire? We can just drop it in. Is there like more schematics like Angular Google Maps that just already works, supported by us, and not by like a third party? This is an interesting idea. I don't know if we'll do it. Jeremy, any ideas on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly like to add more schematics for everything, really. It's just a matter of, it's one of those small things that's hard to make time for when, we're working on a bunch of bigger projects.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Gustavo wants to know, how do we update it about the new releases of Angular? Follow us on Twitter, number one. Number one, get involved on Twitter. We're at, I can put our Twitter up here. Let me put a banner. Here's how you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us at Angular on Twitter. Let's see if this works. Boom, bam. You get us at Angular on Twitter, right? That's how you can follow us. You definitely want to follow us because that's how you can find out the latest. But you know where else you can get involved and to know what's happening? Because we work in public, you can go to this place, github.com/Angular. We work in public, so people find out about what we're doing, what we're committing, by just going to this website, going to our GitHub. Excellent. Good questions. Let's see, we're almost there. More comments. Oh yeah, see, okay, he just pushed me over the edge. I'm gonna go write a one-pager right after this. No, our own masterclass deep dive, bells and whistles, etc. I'm writing the one-pager today. I actually wrote the one-pager. Jeremy, I'm sending it to you today.
Okay.
You like to review stuff, so I'm gonna let you. Yeah, that's a part.
All I do.
So, yeah, I'll let you review it. So this is interesting. I'm working on a micro front-end project as well and would love to use Angular as the root config to serve as a host of other projects. If you're doing micro front-ends, we are exploring what micro front-end future looks like for Angular. But right now, if you want to use like module federation to do your micro front-ends, Manfred Steyer does a ton with this already, and you can like just get what you're looking for right now, right? While we're still figuring out what makes sense for us. You can get what you're looking for right now. And I'm going to put his Twitter on here just so you can see who I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's been doing great stuff for a long time in this area.
Yeah, this is his bread and butter. Manfred Steyer for micro front ends, specifically with module federation as the solution.
And gentlemen, I've greatly enjoyed this time. I have to bow out for a meeting, but I wanted to say that this is the greatest game of all time. So I've enjoyed watching you play, and this is Jeremy. We'll just do this more often. You and I will just hang out, and just play a short una caminata corta together.
Yeah, that's the way.
There you go.
All right, I will see you all later. Vamos. And hasta luego. Ciao.
Au revoir.
Nos vemos luego. All the ways I know how to say bye in Spanish. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you, Angular community.
All right. Thanks, David. Thanks for being on here. Wow, that was great. That's great. If you want to follow David, let's put his Twitter back up here for a second. We're going to put David's Twitter on the screen. If you want to follow David, I think he is. I'm going to get it right now. Yeah, David works on Firebase. David's a great friend of not only Angular, but me personally, and even David, and even Jeremy personally. Like, we're all friends. It's pretty great. You can find David at twitter.com/David East. And Jeremy, we're just like at the end of our stream time anyway. This is it. It's 12 o'clock. It's been an hour.
Yeah, that's it.
You want to
Time to
ask
go
any
eat some
final
lunch.
questions? Let's see. Final questions. Let's see. Cool. Okay, let's see. Will be cool videos to learn Angular by making apps. Yes, we got a video coming out. Actually, we have a brand new 45-minute video coming out for Google I/O this year. So you definitely want to check out Google I/O, the Angular content. Check our Twitter for links to things. But we got a brand new Angular app right there. Let's see. Barhat says, when will we have fast application server build plan for Vite.js? So we're looking at Vite. We're just having discussions to see if it makes sense. Fast application server build. It is fast. That's the answer. Do we like Firefox? Everything is great. All right, friends. I think that's it for us today. Jeremy, do you like this game?
Oh, I love this game. This game is great.
Okay. So I'm going to play it. Probably. I heard that's really short, so I'm going to take a break from Horizon. I'm like level 42, but I haven't finished the campaign yet. So I'm just like, they're like, hey, go back to that place where the co-founder who murked everybody from game one, go to his tomb and do some stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I haven't done that. That's the next main mission. I've just been doing all side gigs so far.
Yeah. I just ordered that the new Horizon Lego set.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
It hasn't arrived yet, but I ordered it.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. That's so great. That's so great. Ah, I love it. All right. The game that we're playing right now, I'm going to put the URL up on the screen so our friends can find it. And then we're going to get ready to say goodbye because I need to eat some lunch. I'm very hungry. And I've been standing and talking. So Jeremy played a short hike today. We should do this more often, Jeremy. Like at the end, we'll prepare all of our banners of like things we want people to know before they like leave.
Yeah.
We'll do that for the next one. We'll get better and better at this. So he's playing a short hike. You can find the URL on the screen at shorthike.com. And here's a really big thing for you folks to be looking out for. We have V14 release coming up. So our next game stream might not be until July, Jeremy, because the next live stream will be the release party, unless you want to push this by a week in June. So we could talk about that offline. But yeah, V14 release. We got some really, really great features coming out. We have up next is the internationalization video that we've been promising for ages. So look out for that. That should be out, like I said, in the next 2 weeks. And Jeremy, anything you want to plug or talk about before we leave?
No, I'm just excited for Angular 14. If you have games you want to see us play, you can tweet at us. I think that's about it. It's going to be hard to actually just stop playing this game and go back to work.
Well, I mean, you're on lunch right now. You've been working for the last hour, and now you're on lunch. If you continue, you continue. Friends, thank you so much. Jeremy, thank you so much. Shout out to David East for being a part of our live stream. We've had a blast today, per usual. And yeah, I think Jeremy and I are going to go back to the lab a little bit and think about ways that we can continue to improve this stream and to just make it even more enjoyable, because I love this and I love hanging out with Jeremy and I love hanging out with you folks.
All right. Now we will end as I sail off into the horizon, glide off into the horizon.
I love that. Until the next time, friends, go build great apps.